Hey everyone, this time we're going to be talking about Yar's Revenge. Now this isn't exactly the same as the previous ones, but it's a little bit similar. Yar's wasn't really based on an arcade game, it was inspired by one, and we'll get into that in just a little bit. First thing we're going to do is talk about the comic book, because Yar's Revenge came with one. It was one of the first games that had a story behind it, which is kind of cool. So let's check out the books and we'll go from there. So I don't have just the Yar comic book. I actually have it in this collection with the Sword Quest comic books. So these are the ones for Sword Quest. There were 3 games. There was supposed to be a 4th. Maybe we'll get into that story later. So you had Earth World, Fire World, Water World, and Air World. But at the very end of this book, you had the Yar's Revenge story, which is pretty cool. I'm glad that it's even in here, because otherwise I might not have been able to see it. So the Yars are a race of basically fly people, as the comic book explains, and they're fighting off something called the Coattail, which has destroyed one of their planets, much to their chagrin. Now, Yar's Revenge was made by Howard Scott Warshaw and was released in 1982 on the Atari 2600. Now, Warshaw made 3 games, and of them, Yar's Revenge was the only one that wasn't basically a license. His other games were E.T. and Raiders of the Lost Ark. Of the 3, Yar's is probably the least really unique, with bizarre controls or weird ideas in it, to be perfectly honest. Now, the idea for Yar's Revenge came when Howard Scott Warshaw was trying to convert Star Castle to the Atari 2600. Now, the 2600 couldn't handle the same graphics that the arcades could, so that idea was scrapped and it became Yar's Revenge. Now, the way he came up with the name Yar was to reverse Ray Kazar, the at the time CEO of Atari's first name, and the planets for the Yar system were basically Razik, and that was Kazar's last name reversed. So this is basically Yar's Revenge. You're the weird little fly thing, there's a big blob of nonsense in between you and the Coattail, and the Coattail's surrounded by a shield. There's also this weird flickering blob that's chasing you around, for lack of anything better to call it. It is supposed to be a destroyer missile, but it just looks like a weird brick that's going to chase you around. Now, the ultimate goal of this is to chip away at the shield and then eventually touch the Coattail in the center there. You saw I did it earlier and was killed by the ion blast that just shot out, and I totally didn't realize that it was there. Now, there is a few problems with this because it is a Howard Scott Warshaw game. There's some cryptic bullshit that goes into this. If you didn't pay attention to the comic book manual, you really wouldn't know that you're supposed to touch the Coattail. You also wouldn't know that there's supposed to be an ion blast that comes. It's just really kind of creepy and annoying. Thankfully, this game isn't super hard to understand, but if you didn't read this manual, which is in the form of a comic book, you wouldn't know that you're supposed to touch the Coattail. Now, later on, Warshaw is going to go a little bit overboard with some of the weird cryptic stuff you're supposed to do, but here it's not too bad. It was probably pretty weird for kids back in the day to play this game and not really understand what they're supposed to do if they didn't read the manual. And that was something that Warshaw did a lot of. You were supposed to read the manuals for all of the games. If you didn't read the manual for E.T., you wouldn't know what you were supposed to do. If you didn't read the manual for, Raiders of the Lost Ark, you wouldn't know that you were supposed to have both of the controllers plugged in. I don't know why he did this, but it was just something weird and kind of annoying that he did. Anyway, that's going to wrap it up, guys. I've been complaining for about a minute or two here. So, what are your thoughts on Yar's Revenge, or really any of the Atari games that we've covered so far? Please let me know in the comments below, and have a great day, everybody.